told to fall in line.
Hello. It's been 9 years since my Facebook song YouTube debut, and I've still yet to be invited onto any late night interview shows to describe in detail every song I've ever written and why. So, as you know, if you want something done, you gotta do it yourself. I'm gonna tell you about my old albums as we build up to my new album release day. In part actually because I am realizing as life is passing me by quite swiftly that I don't remember everything that I thought I would always remember, and I really don't want to forget what some of these songs are about. And then if you guys are interested too, that's so cool, but if not, I understand, whatever. Let's dive right in, shall we? My first ever album that I released officially in September of 2015. It's called Disjointed because all of the songs were absurdly different, and I didn't feel that they had any sort of collective flow. The album cover photo was taken by my cousin Emily. She has been the photographer for every album that I've had. My favorite photographer since she started taking pictures when we were young. The surrounding frame of the floral stuff was painted by one of my really good friends, Jamie Henderson. Disjointed has 5 songs, making it technically an EP. You'll notice they all have like a name and then a little extra name in parentheses. The reason for that was I decided that I wanted my artist name to be Lynnea with the A in brackets. I knew I wanted it to be my name, but I didn't want it to be just my name. I was trying to be funkier than that. I also thought it would be fun because it kind of helps with like the pronunciation. I was like, oh, Lynnea, oh, that's cool, whatever. Then I was like, it would be so cool then if all of the songs on my album had like a word and then a little something extra in brackets to line up with what I'm doing with my artist name. And of course, when it came time to enter all the stuff, turns out there's all these rules that you have to follow when you're submitting in regards to punctuation, in regards to spelling. My dream of doing a brackets thing was totally shot, and then I had to just stick with the regular parentheses. At the time of making Disjointed and prior to, I was interning at a recording studio, and that's where I met Gnome, who helped me produce all of my albums too. Like virtually does most of the production on everything. At the time of Disjointed, I was also taking production courses, trying to become a producer myself. And then after a while, I realized that wasn't necessarily my route, but I had luckily in those endeavors learned like just enough to lay down my own tracks, if you will, add some details if I wanted, and to know how to communicate what I wanted from the songs if I had a big vision for it. So Disjointed, I recorded all of it in my small and creaky apartment, but I did my best. I would hang up comforters, produced as far as I could, and then brought all of that to Gnome. He made the magic really happen, always does. That's Disjointed. That's the overview. First song on Disjointed called Most Days Sometimes. It's actually kind of emotional to reflect on. The lyrics go, I'll lose my mind like the rest of my songs. I noticed that I mention this often. The losing my mind concept comes up in Needy Call Me, which is later on this album. It also comes up on Fade, which is released in a later album, but I wrote around the same time that I was writing all these songs. I'll use my heart until it stops beating. I'm a lover. I'll always be loving really hard regardless of whether I want to be or not. I'll find a right in all of your wrongs. So willing to overlook all of the negatives just to focus on tiny speckles of good sometimes in the people that I will give all of my love to. I'll scratch my scars until they stop bleeding. Self-torture combination with the fact that I just know that it takes me so long to get over pain. I will continue to pick at it, and I will continue to ruminate over it until so much time passes. I still feel it, but it's just such a part of me that it's not even like an active gush of blood. It's just my reality. I don't know if I've really discussed that before. So leave your lingerie hanging in the closet because he never came back for you. Just a summary of what happened. The guy I loved, who was studying abroad at the time and then dumped me over Skype. I just never saw him again. Find another to start over again and count the minutes till it crumbles too. The emphasis on minutes. Try again. Find a new crush within but minutes. Once again, it will crumble. I will find myself here again. I always have. I never have not. Do I overwhelm you? An honest question that I was feeling. Most days bitter, better, or most days like a feather, or most days wouldn't want it. Oh, love. I don't know, lying to myself. At least suggesting that most of the time I don't need this. And most of the time I could give two cruds about the concept of falling in love. Emphasis on most.
because it's not all. And those remaining days, those unspoken of days, are the days that bring me to the space of this kind of a song. Trouble finding words to express it vague enough to gently suggest it. With songwriting, I like to keep this distant approach. Final repeated deal is, I know I can be a lot sometimes. Overlaid with, do I overwhelm you? It's kind of me taking the power back, being like, I know I can be a lot. Do I overwhelm? Trying to like kind of freak you out about it. I do have a music video to it on my YouTube channel. Me messing around with photo booth, all the filters. And I just remember that that was kind of a fun way just to represent all these different personas, perhaps versions of myself, but then also I really liked, here are all these goofy faces narrated by very sad and serious lyricism and music. Felt like a snapshot of like my whole deal. We'll create an external of, you know, goofy, but the inside is not quite goofy most of the time. I think that's all I've got for that one.
Told to fall in line.
Second track on Disjointed, Human Today! It's a pop jam. At this time in my life, my roommate and I got in trouble all the time from our neighbors downstairs who thought we laughed too loud. They called the cops on us once when we were literally playing Scrabble. This was just my frustrations. There's just no space to be a person sometimes. And I think that's a shame. Told to fall in line, don't want to lose your place. Keep it to yourself, hide behind your face. If you don't, what will the people say? What will the people do? Always such a deep concern about people who don't know you. We all like need to be this keep to ourselves because if we don't, we're a nuisance. But hey, I don't mind if you want to sing really loud inside here. I'll join in. If you want to dance or scream or laugh or cry here. They're all just extremely human things you just feel like doing in front of people. You're gonna have a judgment. Screaming and laughing and crying. Oh, heavens. The hot yodely choruses. Can we be human today? Do you hate wearing pants? Well, so do I. Let's ditch all our clothes and jump real high. Another thing where it's gonna be like, oh, a weird person jumping, no pants on. My absolute favorite lyric I've ever written in my life to this day is, if my body's not an hourglass, well, that's just fine. Because I never thought to use my ass for telling time. I was just really over the body pressures. You know, I'm always feeling really over that. It's really taken a lot of time from my youth. Thought that line was a very cool way of reclaiming a little, you know, a little bit. We just circle back to those topics from before. Hey, I don't mind if you want to sing really loud inside here. Hey, I'll join in if you want to dance or scream or laugh or cry here. Can we be human today? Repeat, repeat, repeat. This is another song I do have a music video to. Making this music video is just one of those just best nights ever. One of my really close childhood friends, Christina Woodworth, came into town and was willing to videotape this for me. And then the bagel store that I worked at the time, my boss is amazing. He let me use the store after hours. And anybody who wanted to come, I was like, come and we're gonna just do this. Anytime I like get these groups together to do a music video, I'll usually like kind of give a framework and then just let people take the real creative liberties into their own hands. My favorite part of that was that Connor, for like multiple scenes, instead of being involved in the foreground, would just lurk in the background, like under a table. When I was editing, I made sure to like slowly zoom into him, and that still makes me laugh a lot. So that's Human Today.
In brighter times, you took my breath.
Don't Wake the Baby, You're Wrong. It's called that because I recorded in my room at night. There's a baby that lives downstairs and I was like, I don't want to wake up the baby, but I do want to record this song. So in a way, that was one of those limiting parameters that ended up making it awesome. I don't know that it would have had this vocal vibe if I had the freedom to sing as loud as I wanted to. If you are familiar with my entire discography, you know probably about my gym crush thing. Don't Wake the Baby. Kind of weirdly also was sparred by my crush on him. Something that I do historically is get really aggressively a crush on someone that I haven't met or someone that I've like talked to, sort of, you know, you fall in love with someone you don't know. It's easier that way. So I wrote this song around the same time I wrote Gym Crush. This whole song was based off of looked at him and he just glazed past me and I was just like deeply cut over the realization that my crush, I don't think, knew that I existed. Ignited this entire song. And then it kind of, as I start writing, it'll encompass more than that moment, of course, but in brighter times, you took my breath. I'm colder now, I'm colder now. In tougher times, you kept my breath. I'm older now, I'm older now. So that is saying, you used to be breathtaking to me. I would be so just captivated by you. I'm colder. So like in tougher times, you took my breath and then you held it, and then I was in discomfort because of my attraction. But I'm older now. No one keeps my breath except for me. Anywhere you are, anywhere you try to look, that smoking gun, a clap of thunder, now there it is. Anyway, you're wrong. Maybe I don't care to look. That smoking gun sounds just like thunder. You'll know where it is. The ease of confusing what might be the sound of a gunshot and a strike of thunder and the differences in their impact. You're wrong if you think I'm captivated by you, like you've been fooled. Or have I been fooled? In recent times, I held my tongue. I'm bolder now. I'm bolder now. I used to feel really embarrassed confronting people if I felt that they were wronging me, or confronting people if I just was attracted to them. I went through this whole phase. At this time, I was getting a little more fierce with things like that. And just tonight, you looked away. It took no words to say what you had to say. Circling back to the spark of this entire song. That's what it is. But then this song is like me trying to spin it, you know, in the way that's how we process feelings and stuff. I use music to heal myself from things. So even though sometimes the lyrics will be very exaggerated or very not in line with the reality of a situation, it's the reality I'm creating for myself to get through whatever I need to get through. So this song, in that circumstance, was me feeling rejected by someone that I had a huge crush on, and then using music to spin myself a reality where the guy I had a crush on thinks that I'm into him, and I'm so over it that he needs a reality check. We do what we do to make it through. So that's Don't Wake the Baby.
Met a little bit ago.
Fear You Babe gives me really embarrassing but hilarious memories. It's about a guy, again, who I really didn't know at all. He was like the new roommate of some guys that I was friends with. Came into the bagel store that I worked at like once. First time I met him, I was like, oh hey, cool to meet you. Didn't think about it again. And then the next time I saw him, I had this mental shift where I was just like, okay, I have a crush on you now. I use music a lot of times to spin myself a reality separate from actual reality. Much more cathartic for me to exaggerate hugely. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but in this situation I did. Started writing a song to process the feelings of having this sudden new crush, and then it just turned into this really cool song. My experience is a fraction of what this song is suggesting lyrically. Met a little bit ago, always been a friendly thing. We talked 2 times. Then something happened, I don't know, that's true. Out of nowhere, I had a crush on him. Feeling both aligned and out of sync, where I'm like, oh, this is weird, but also I love having a crush. Suddenly when you come around, I feel sweat into my hands. Not usually nervous, ooh, but now feels like my knees are made of sand. That's true, you know, that's crush stuff. And you know, I'd love to see you, babe. Even more, I'd love to feel you, babe. That's me trying to be like, ooh, I'd like to get real near you, babe. All the while, I sort of fear you, babe, which is fun and true. I think it was just pretty much me being like, crushes are scary. I don't like it. I also don't know you. And also I don't think you feel the same way. Then I go a little step it up a minute. Now you got me dreaming of that smile in my face all turning red. True. Every crush. That's regular. Hold me back. I'd crawl a mile just to know what's going in your head. I don't know that I would crawl a mile for this person, but I'll say it for the song. It makes a fun lyric. I know I'm throwing off my game by always hitting up your phone. This is fake. I did not have this person's phone number. Tell my friends, I feel insane. I can't leave this boy alone. Once again, false. Can't access him, I don't think. If I did, I'm sorry. I don't remember that I could. I don't think I talked to friends about this crush. This was literally like the smallest, briefest crush of my life, but I wrote a whole song about it. Yes, oh yes, of course I see you there, cause you know you got me hooked. Hoping you don't catch my stare, cause you know you got me hooked. Wishing I'll run into you everywhere, cause you know you got me hooked. Best chances are you don't even care. But you know you got me, you know you got me. All true, all real crush things. Even the smallest crush, I feel all those things. This song bangs, I think it's amazing. If you know of my discography and the gym crush stuff, at this time in my life, I was in this space where I was just getting drunk on the feeling of telling people that I'd written songs about them, because it went well once and it went well maybe some other times. So I was like, I gotta keep doing this. I was just like, live for the thrill. But again, he doesn't know me at all, so it's really weird. I don't think he ever talked to me again. I was friends with his roommates. They were like, yeah, we sing that song to him sometimes. Embarrassing, but also cool. So that's Fear You, Babe. I still love this song. Last song song on Disjointed is called Needy Call Me. It was kind of a summary of frustrations with the way that I operate. Running for tomorrow, but dreaming 2 years back. Chasing after tomorrow, but I could not let go of this relationship from 2 years prior. Follow up with Hollow and Candles That Won't Last. I just feel empty in the focus of both of these things. Time passing regardless. One thing now to mention is Why You Hold Your Tongue, which is kind of a throwback to Don't Wake the Baby, where I say, in recent times I held my tongue. Why are you afraid to say what's on your mind kind of thing? Call me, hold me, touch me, let your song be sung. Representation of my need for affection and just how I was so fixated on affection, but also so aware that I was so fixated on affection and really frustrated with it, like my inability to be present with anything else. Let your song be sung is me to myself being like, don't be afraid to speak and exist. As I'm reflecting now, is kind of a theme that shows up through this whole album. When I lose my mind, I like to see the stars. This ties into the very first lyric of the whole album on most days, where I say, I lose my mind like the rest of my songs. Here we are in one of the rest of my songs, losing my mind. In my journey with starting to tend to my mental health, there are things that I need to deal with, and there are things that I need to treat, and there are things that require medication, there are things that require a therapist, and there are things that require reflection, and there are things that require work and stuff. I empathize with the me from about 2015 and the years prior. Hormonal stuff going on and much less certainty in myself. I just had a lot of intense episodes of what to me felt like losing my mind. When I'm in complex, I like to be able to see the sky. That makes me feel better. That's kind of all that line is about. No clue where I'm going, lost in where I've been. Find a place, fixate on a face, and listen for the pin. And that was me feeling just exhausted again. Forever feeling like my entire life is in the future, but then so caught up in the past that I'm not in the present at all. And then the end is just, it blows up a little bit with call me, oh I want it, maybe I need it, so I'm gonna scream about how desperate I am in a self-hating kind of way. And then let your song be sung. Don't be afraid to be heard, but also let's release an album, baby. You're a musician. You've worked for this for a very long time. I really like this song because it feels rockish and interesting. Very different than all the songs on this album, and kind of all the songs that are to follow in my other album. So ha ha ha.